If you're going to steal my parts and then sell them back to me, could you at least clean them first, as a courtesy? A Jedi? Well, don't count on it. I've heard the Jedi are all but extinct. You're making some kind of mistake. You're looking for somebody else.
What are you doing here, Obi-Wan?
My name is Ben.
Come on, please.
You must leave. You'll draw too much attention.
But I have nowhere to go. They're hunting me.
Walk into the middle of the desert and bury it in the ground. Stay hidden. Live a normal life. The fight is done. We lost. The time of the Jedi is over. I was tracking its signature.
You're in Dayu now.
Out of the way.
About some information. I'm looking for my daughter, but she was taken, and she's on this planet.
You having trouble? There's a Jedi. He helps people.
The Jedi are all gone.
Well, hello there. On this edition of The Solo Show, we're having a roundtable discussion on the first 2 episodes of the highly anticipated Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi, starring Ewan McGregor. As always, The Solo Show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney and the greater Orlando area with celebratingflorida.com and disneyatyourdoorstep.com. The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit disneyatyourdoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit disneyatyourdoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him The Solo Show sent you.
There's a hunger for this character to come back. The fans have been waiting long enough, you know?
Something that's extremely exciting is the return of obviously Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is quite a dark time that we're coming into with him. Just being a Jedi, it's not safe. There's Jedi hunters out there.
At least he has this one task left, which is to keep Luke safe.
That's definitely a starting place for our story. The interesting thing is going to be where it goes from there.
The most beautiful thing of all is that it's brought me back together with Hayden.
We are bringing back Hayden Christensen to reprise the role of Darth Vader. We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi without addressing Anakin or Vader.
Have another swing at each other. It might be quite satisfying for everybody. We hope that you enjoy it as much as we enjoy making it.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
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 Yes. So, Kenobi, part 1, part 2, we're going to talk about it. Hope everybody at home or listening has watched it. If you haven't, we're going straight into spoilers right off the hop. We're not going to mess around with non-spoiler and then spoiler.
We don't have time for non-spoilers.
We don't have time. We got a lot to cover. We got a lot to cover today.
Oh, my gosh.
So let's go around the table really quickly. We're going to start off with Food Fairy Chris, or in the Star Wars universe, Blue Milk Fairy.
There you
Chris, how are you today?
I'm good, and I'm just going to say one thing. Squeak!
Perfect.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is my heartthrob, so in the Star Wars universe. So
I didn't realize you liked Alec Guinness that much.
I loved Alec Guinness. He was a magnificent actor, but Ewan McGregor, he does it for me. So, yeah.
All right, on. Mission Commander Justin sitting here beside me in the virtual reality. How are you today? What did you think? Do you have a squee?
I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy seeing we're seeing another bit of the Star Wars timeline that we haven't really explored as much. And I'm really enjoying the characters as they've been introduced so far. I love seeing young Luke, and I guess we are in spoiler territory, so I can also say young Leia.
Yeah, absolutely.
I especially love her character, the way she is presented.
Yes.
Right on. Skipper Jay, welcome aboard, and what are your thoughts?
Aloha. You know what? I'm getting everything I wanted from this show so far. I couldn't be any happier. And the Black Series figures are going to look great.
Yeah, there are going to be some amazing figures come out of this one for sure.
Yep.
Jedi, Scott, how are you today? And what were your thoughts, initial thoughts?
The Force is strong. I loved it. This is what I've been looking for since they announced this at D23 a few years back. So super excited. Enjoyed it.
Oh, right on. Now, normally when we do these roundtable discussions, I kind of go point by point for every single shot. Because we're pressed for time, we're going to try to avoid that. We did do a Kenobi series. It was kind of like, I call it Boba Kenobi, because we sort of wrapped up Book of Boba Fett, and we gave our predictions for Kenobi on the Grand Circle Tour. So if you haven't heard that one yet, go back and listen to that. We do have a couple of clips we're going to play of our predictions and how they panned out. I think... Like, we've been doing these for a while now, guys, because we did Mandalorian Season 1, Mandalorian Season 2, Book of Boba Fett, and now we're doing Kenobi. Those past ones, you can see them on the Grand Circle Tour podcast. And our predictions are usually horrible. Like, we are off base. We did pretty good this time.
You did really good this time.
I mean, as I recall, I was constantly going, "No, Stan, that couldn't possibly be."
Yeah, Stan needs to get out of the grocery biz and go into the psychic predictions business.
Dan, I'm taking you to the horse races.
Yeah,
so we'll get into those as well throughout the show. Now, I do want to go kind of in order, though. We start off with a school shooting. Was that a good way to start a series? Actually, I should say we start off with a 4-minute recap of the prequel trilogy, which we could bypass because everybody's seen those 15 times. I've seen Star Wars 500 times. So there was the recap, which was interesting. But the schools, we basically, it's a school shooting that we start off with.
Well,
what were your
but it's one that we've known about, and we couldn't really overlook it because, I mean, that sets up so much of what this one's going to be about, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't. I know the timing is terrible, but I mean, in America right now, the timing is going to always be terrible.
Yeah.
When they showed that scene, I thought it was going to be Anakin walking in there and killing all those younglings again. But I was glad it was somewhere else, and they didn't bring him up in it right then and there. Yeah,
and there's been some speculation that one of those kids might be this Reva
Don't
character.
you take my point from me. Don't you take my point from me, Justin.
That's what I'm here for, Jay.
Jay, do you think? Hang on, Jay. Do you think?
Character. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you think there should have been a warning on this show that?
Honestly, I only saw Order 66. I didn't even think of what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just was back in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I that's kind of how I was too. I mean,
both my wife and I,
we have seen before.
Yeah,
Maybe not quite as graphic, but we have seen that this has happened.
Yeah. Both my wife and I kind of looked at each other and went, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, we were both pretty shocked by that opening scene. Anyways, so we cut to Tatooine. So you guys wanted to mention Reva. I agree with you. I think that's who that is. There's a young guy.
Is that who I think it is? It was the very first character we saw in the show.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really fueling that speculation.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever find out for sure if that was who that was. Maybe we will. I mean, we got 6 episodes. We got 4 more left, so that might come back. Maybe she'll recognize one of the Jedi that escaped with her, because from what we could see, those younglings in that classroom did get to escape.
They all got out. Yep.
They all got out. Yeah.
Yep.
So the Inquisitor pulls up, and I want to play this clip here that Justin mentioned during our Kenobi Zero episode.
I did notice one thing in the trailer that I thought you would appreciate, Stan, which is the Inquisitors parking right in the middle of the street of Mos Eisley, not off in the distance and have to walk 5 miles. They just land right where they need to be.
They didn't
saw
want
that.
They didn't want to get sand in their boots. That's the only reason why they did it.
No, they were listening to the Grand Circle Tour podcast and they went, you know, Stan has a good point. We should park closer. That's what happened.
Yeah, they were definitely listening.
You know, I have noticed that over time, people have been parking closer and closer, and I think it's because they've been listening to Stan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll take full credit for the fact that the Star Wars ships are now getting a little bit closer to town, a little bit more. Now the Inquisitors just land
So
right in the
Stan,
middle of town.
you heard it first here, folks. Stan is helping the bad guys.
And I like the scene where the Jawas were I'm not sure if they were selling merchandise or playing a dice game or something, but they got out of Dodge quick. They packed up that blanket and they moved out of the way really.
They did.
So early on we get tension between the Grand Inquisitor and Riva.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of unexpected. Scott, what did you think of that there?
To me, it was unexpected. I was surprised that there was so much tension between Riva and the Grand Inquisitor. That being said, Riva annoyed the hell out of me in this series so far.
I'm surprised. Mean.
I'm surprised the Grand Inquisitor put up with her.
What about you, Jay?
I was kind of cracking up last night after watching it again. All the people who were screaming that the Grand Inquisitor didn't look exactly like he did in the animated series, well, now we know why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So kind of basically, we cut to the meat market, and I'm guessing there some kind of creature either was hunted or died of natural causes. I'm assuming it was hunted, and it's kind of cool how they're doing this. They set up the meat market right next to this creature, and they're processing the meat right there. Makes sense.
It's a very large creature.
Yeah,
it kind of looks like a whale of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I noticed. It did look amphibian, and did that have something to do with Tatooine seas drying up? Like this creature evolved
to. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think that's the idea there.
Yeah, or it could have been one of the space whales that we saw earlier. It just happened to come into Tatooine for whatever reason. Like, I don't know why a space whale would come to a 2-sunned planet, but
pergola. And they did call that out by name even. Later on in the episode.
Oh, I missed that. So Kenobi's now a butcher. Chris, do you still have respect for him? He's a butcher now.
Sure. Hey, you got to do what you got to do to survive. You know.
Hey, maybe that's where Stan's getting all his information from. Because now he's a butcher. Now is he working in the grocery store?
I worked in the meat department actually for 10 years before I moved into the grocery department.
There you go.
So yeah. I like that gonk droid ATM. Yeah, I like that gonk droid ATM.
Mm-hmm.
I love that it gonked every time it did a payout.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I want to point out something there now. The one of the characters in the meat market, he was a shorter character, kind of like a large, rounded, puffier nose. The actor in that suit is Kevin Thompson, who we've had before on the Solo show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He was the stunt Ewoks in the original Return of the Jedi, and he was also Ewok in the Caravan of Courage Ewok TV series. He's been in I think he's like 50 movies and TV shows over the years.
Wow.
We're going to try to get him on the Solo show. I can't promise anything, but I did reach out to him, and he said he would love to come on a future Solo show episode to talk about his experiences with us and go over an episode. So we're going to try to do that before we get to the end of the 6 seasons.
Cool.
So when we get him on, you'll kind of know who he was. Ben stealing meat.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, is that okay?
I was a little surprised by that. I mean, but I think it's meant to show that he has, in a lot of ways, abandoned the Jedi code here. Mm-hmm. It's part of him going to ground, as it were. I mean, because we see the Inquisitor later talking about how the Jedi practically hunt themselves because they adhere to their Jedi code and they kind of stand out as a result. And so he is going against that quite a bit. He's just doing what he needs to do to survive when he doesn't have all those Jedi resources anymore.
Right.
I got a question though on that. With him using his Force abilities, you think that's one of the ways the Inquisitors find him, besides the actions of it, or are they sensing his Force abilities when he does that?
I think there is something of that where there is an ability, because he has to, like, I don't know, open his mind or up or something in some way, and it seems like he has closed that part of himself off as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when we do see him use the Force, it seems like he is rusty at it, that he's struggling to do that, something that probably would have been very easy for him before.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing too, is so he's rusty at it here. So how much further ahead are we to A New Hope? Because he seems pretty good at it in A New Hope, at convincing stormtroopers that he's
got
swinging his
9
lightsaber.
years.
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is he using it a lot more after this series?
Sure.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we
Why?
do see him he does show up in Rebels, which takes place after this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems like he's using it a lot more there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with him saying, you mentioned him stealing the meat. Well, I mean, he's doing it to feed his animal. He's not taking it for himself. But, in a later scene in the show, he does say, I'm not who I used to be.
Mhm.
And that is a really good indicator of that statement, that he did abandon his beliefs and the way of doing things because he had to. So,
Mhm.
Yep, close
Well,
himself
even
up.
in this scene, he doesn't help the guy who's being shortchanged.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You can see that there's that desire there, and then he backs down because he doesn't want to reveal himself
Right.
as that sort of person.
Well, maybe that's why he was stealing the meat, because he's been getting shortchanged this whole time.
Here we go.
me.
And the thing is, about the meat, he didn't steal it for himself. It was for his animal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Eope, or as my wife likes to call him, an elephant camel.
That's a good
It
comparison.
is basically a camel. It's a Star Wars camel.
Yeah. Star Wars.
So his cave that he's in, and I like that little astromech droid.
His security
sensor.
droid.
His security
Yeah.
droid that's buried in the sand. And now, do you think the whole droid's buried in the sand, or just a part of that one part?
See, I thought it
It would have
was
sucked
just
to be that droid. I'm just saying.
I didn't think he'd bury a droid. I figured that was a piece that he made into a security sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah. His cave is quite large.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly
Bigger
larger
than I
we
thought
see
it
in-
would be. Yeah.
but larger than we see in A New Hope,
Mhm.
which makes me think he's going to move at some point.
I think so, because I think this is much closer to where Luke is living right now, whereas in A New Hope, he's like off beyond the Dune Sea or whatever.
And
So
it was
it's
Not
more
that
of a,
close.
and it was
took
more
a-
of a building too in A New Hope.
Yeah, it's more of a building, but he's not that close, because it took him it was a long camel ride to that rock area where he could actually spy on Luke.
Yeah.
It wasn't really overly that close. Anyways, the Jawa Tika.
Oh, I was going to say,
was a
I
highlight.
did also enjoy the parallels between what he's doing here and what we saw Rey doing on Jakku at the beginning of Last Jedi.
Mixing the food and
Yeah.
going out on the rock and eating
Mhm.
and
Reusing old ideas. Star Wars is good at.
yeah.
Jawa Tika made me laugh out loud.
Yes.
I've got a tried to feed.
Yeah.
Sounds like
You smell.
sounds like your vaporator is broken.
Exactly.
I did like his line too. It's like, well, for you to steal from me and sell the parts back, could you at least clean them first? And he's like, no, cleaning's extra.
Cleaning's extra.
And
So he didn't even deny it.
He doesn't hide it even. Like he says,
No.
well, someone stole some of the parts, and he goes, "Oh, I know what parts you're missing."
Yeah,
He
where do
gets
you
all
go?
excited.
Here it is, right here.
Yeah.
We've
And of
all had
course-
that roommate at one point.
Of
Yeah.
course, what he's selling to Obi-Wan here is the toy that we see Luke playing with in A New Hope.
Yep.
Okay, so Ben brings it back, or sorry, Owen brings it back. Owen Lars brings it back to Ben. Luke ends up with it in the end. So, are we gonna? Do you think we're gonna see that? How he gets it back again, Luke?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm guessing by the end he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Figure at the end, Owen's going to take it as a gift from him.
Yeah. So speaking of Owen Lars, and we got Owen Lars, and we got Drew Lars, and they adopt Luke. and call him Luke Skywalker. We've talked a bit about in the episode 0 about Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan Kenobi changing his name to Ben Kenobi. Luke they do even worse with Luke.
Yeah.
They don't even change his last name.
Anakin's last name anyway.
They keep his last name Skywalker, even though they're not Skywalkers.
Nope.
I want to play a little clip from episode 0 here. Kenobi changes his name from Obi-Wan Kenobi to Ben Kenobi when he hides on Tatooine, and we're going to get the story of Ben, where the name Ben comes from.
I don't know how that's a good AKA a name to hide from when you're still got Kenobi.
I know. oh no! I'm not Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm Ben Kenobi. You're looking for my cousin. He's in the inner rim. This is the outer rim.
Yeah.
That made me laugh so hard.
Seriously, they couldn't have changed the names better than that. So
it's nothing but
considering how good of a job he's doing at kind of hiding and blending in and living a normal life on this planet, you think he could have done better with the name.
You would think he would at least dye his hair a different color, shave his beard.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so then this youngling who's now 5 years older or 10 years older comes across him in the middle of the desert and recognizes him right away as, hey, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. I recognize you. And he goes, no, I'm Ben Kenobi. He says, you got me mixed up with someone else. The Jedi are all but extinct.
I am not who you're looking for.
But did you notice how his voice changed from Ben to Obi-Wan when he hopped down off the camel?
Yeah, it did change a little bit. Yeah.
Well, he knew that this guy knew that he was Obi-Wan. Yeah. But now the kid has the lightsaber. Now the younglings don't use a full-size lightsaber.
Right.
They use a smaller lightsaber that's kind of suited for them. Well, this is now a full-size lightsaber. So this Jedi, his name is Nara, I believe.
Nari.
So I kind of want to know his backstory.
Yeah.
Because he says a lot. You don't know what happened to me. You don't know what I went through for the last 10 years. Yeah. So obviously he made his lightsaber bigger. So he's been practicing the Force, and because he used the Force to build the lightsaber when they build it. So, do you think we're going to get his backstory in the future?
In a comic book?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe in a comic,
an animated episode down the road or something, but not live action.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we'll see him in either comic book or animated. Young Leia kind of comes up next.
Yep.
What did you guys think of this actress, Chris?
I thought she was adorable, bratty, spoiled, just like a princess would be, but still has a compassionate side at the same time because she was being kind and thanked the droid who served her. So, she kind of all over the place, but I really liked her. So
yeah. Jay?
I liked her acting, but I thought I didn't like her running. I thought she didn't run very well.
Yeah, she wasn't a brother.
You know what? She reminded me an awful lot of Sindel, the way she ran. That's the exact same way Sindel ran in the Ewoks stories.
No, I think you're right. That is a good comparison.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Why? What?
That was going to be.
What was wrong with that?
That movie was horrible. Don't you say that about poor Leia?
No, I like Cinda. I like that little toy she had, that Lola.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
That's gotta be coming out.
Oh,
it is coming out.
Coming soon to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that character exists just so it can be a toy.
Yeah. No, Hasbro announced it during Star Wars Celebration this weekend, and it looks amazing. It stands up, and the wings do its own thing, and it lights up, and it blinks and goes up and down. And it looks. I don't know how much things going to cost, but I kind of want to get one.
$99.99.
That's all.
Scott.
I think that's all.
That's a bargain.
Yeah.
Scott, do you think did she remind you more of Anakin or more of Padme in this episode?
I think more Padme and how she spoke and all that, but you can see a little bit of Anakin in her. With her a little bit being rebellious and stuff like that. So you've seen both.
How about you, Justin?
if you're looking at like the Clone Wars in particular, you see Anakin as a lot more snarky than than you see him in the movies, and that's what I see in her as well, in young Leia. That sort of willingness to tell people what she thinks, whether it's what they want to hear or not. And there's been some speculation that some of her like psychoanalysis might be a little bit of her Force abilities already kind of showing.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. You could totally sense that she's reading people's minds. She
at least on some level, yeah.
Doing like Counselor Troy and getting those feelings out of people.
Yeah, when she made that comment to her cousin about being afraid of his father, she said, I feel that you're afraid of your father. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I love that scene with her calling her cousin out like that.
Yeah. The casting was amazing. She was perfect, this little girl.
Yep.
That was absolutely amazing. One of the things we talked about in episode 0 was, and I got this part wrong, I sort of, my gut told me we weren't going to see very many lightsabers in this episode or in this series at all. And I asked you guys, do you think we're going to see lightsabers? And I posed a question to Scott, and this was Scott's response. Okay, so we saw the Inquisitors in the trailer. What do you think we're going to see in this series? It's only 6 episodes that we didn't see in the trailers. Now, we know Hayden Christensen's going to be back as Darth Vader. We know that Kenobi's going to be there. We know the Inquisitors are going to be there. We're going to get Stormtroopers, of course. Will we see a lightsaber at all? Will Ben use his lightsaber at all?
I don't know. Yes, but I think we're going to see more lightsabers. You know, they're talking about hunting down Jedi, the Inquisitors and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see more lightsabers.
There you go.
We did. There you go. Yeah, and we did. The Inquisitors were pretty quick to whip those lightsabers out, especially Reva. Is quick.
We cut off that lady's hand. She didn't do that.
That was my next point. Yeah. So the Grand Inquisitor, he kind of cares for these townsfolk almost.
Because they're not who he's after.
No.
They're insignificant. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the same time, he didn't like it that she cut the hand off.
Yeah.
He didn't like her tactics. Is it because he doesn't like her? Or is it because he's an ex-Jedi or could have been a Jedi had the Jedi not fallen?
I think a big part of it is the fact that he does not like her. I think that's a battle between the two of them, and we do see that later.
And I think as well, it's the difference in style that he thinks of himself more as like this academic style. He wants to solve the puzzle, not just use his lightsaber to beat people up and torture them into revealing things.
Yeah, Reva is more like intimidating, and she didn't care what it took. She'll do whatever it takes to make someone talk.
Yep.
Or the Grand Master was more.
She is that coworker that will literally stab you in the chest for promotion.
Yes. Exactly. And exactly, figuratively and literally.
I thought at this point, I thought for sure Owen was going to rat out Kenobi. He was going to rat out Ben.
I was a little nervous there for a couple of minutes.
Now he says I didn't do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who did he do it for? Because
Luke.
They were going to kill his family.
He's protecting Luke, and I think if they find Ben, they'll figure out why Ben is there.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So let's go back to Alderaan. The Alderaan was, we've always heard about being a very, very beautiful planet, and it was nice. I think Naboo was a more beautiful planet, but that scene where they're on the balcony with Bail Organa and Leia, and that wide shot, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
that shot
looked like the mountains in Canada.
Well, and this is where Bail Organa mentions that he wanted to hunt Purrgil, or
chase after the Purrgil.
Yeah. So Leia gets in trouble with her mom. She takes off, we already did that. So Leia takes off again. It's the first chance she gets. She's told not to. And what happens? Jay, what happens to her?
Oh, she gets her little princess kidnapped.
Exactly. Now,
Damn.
Where did we hear about that before? See a young Princess Leia.
I would say yes.
Could there be a storyline where a young princess from Alderaan gets kidnapped or gets whatever, and the story is Kenobi goes and saves her?
Psychic.
You're dead.
Did you read
I'm pretty sure I
spoilers
followed that up with no, of course not.
I did not read any spoilers online. My thought process on that was, you know how in these trailers, these Star Wars trailers, they tell you, look over here, look over here. Meanwhile, they want you to ignore what's happening over there. So I was wondering what's happening over there. So what got me thinking was, well, they're showing us Luke, where's Leia? And then at the same time, I'm thinking, what? Ben leaves the planet. What causes Ben to leave the planet? Leia. It causes Ben to leave. Why would Ben leave the planet? She gets kidnapped. And that was kind of my thought process for this
Stan needs to hang a shingle outside of his house that says psychic readings. On the side, okay?
It is very good logic, and clearly it paid off for you here. But yeah, the trailer did definitely. I mean, it showed us Tatooine, it showed us Luke, it made us think that that's going to be the focus, and
he even focuses in on Luke with the binoculars,
right?
On the trailer. So yeah, so I was watching this, like, oh my gosh, she's not going to get kidnapped, is she? I was right. I've never been right before. So anyway, so we find out that Reva is one who hired the kidnappers. Now, I thought this was an interesting. So she's talking to Flea, whatever his character's name is.
Yeah,
it's just Flea.
Needle. We'll just call him Needles because that's who he was in the Back to the Future films.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So she found out that Obi-Wan Kenobi, used to fight alongside Anakin and knows that Leia is Anakin's daughter.
Well, no, she doesn't. She says that she found a connection between Bail Organa,
right,
and
yeah,
Obi-Wan. She doesn't know that Leia is
in the Clone
Anakin's
Wars,
daughter.
and yeah.
Well, yeah, that.
No, I think he says that this is Anakin's daughter. I'm pretty sure she says that.
Don't think she did. No. She recognized that that Bail Organa and Obi-Wan had fought together in the war, and so she wanted to use Bail Organa's daughter as bait to draw him out.
Yep.
But she saw her as Bail Organa's daughter, not Anakin's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, being friends and all that.
Put a pin in the name Anakin, because when we get to that, I really have a question.
Okay, the way she says it, she says he fought alongside Leia's father during the war.
Yeah, she means Bail Organa, though.
So she means it's because of Bail, not because... Okay, well, why not kidnap the wife, the queen, I guess? I think
because he's more likely to come out of hiding to save a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically the idea.
Okay,
well, that being said, though, if no one knew of Leia being a Skywalker, Kenobi was right when he talked to his Bail and his wife. Get your army out there. Get some bodyguards out there. No one's going to know any different.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a big plot hole, not taking advantage of it. I get it. It's Kenobi, but that would have been easier to do.
And Organa's, Bail's excuse is that he didn't want people to find out that his daughter had been kidnapped.
Right. Trying to keep it on the QT.
Yeah.
The other question I had is when they're hunting down or trying to capture Leia, well, first of all, she outruns them before she's even going under.
How did she? This is why I didn't like her running, because it's like, how did these grown men not catch this small child that can barely run?
Okay, so barring that, let's believe that she could outrun them somehow. We've seen it in New Hope.
She does know her way around the woods, so because she goes there all the time.
Which I kind of wish they'd have shown that a little better than they did, just because I think that would have made it make more sense.
Well, they showed it a bit. She's ducking under logs. Now these guys have blasters. Now we saw in A New Hope that blasters have stun settings.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty quick to shoot the guard. Why could they not do a stun setting on Leia? And
maybe not all of them have it.
Yeah,
maybe not. Stormtroopers have stun settings because they can't hit anything normally.
Yeah.
Or maybe because she's so much younger, a stun setting could kill her.
Yeah, I did think of that too. That could very well be. So, anyways, and is that how episode 1 ends, or does So we get Bail coming to Kenobi saying, "You have to save my daughter. I don't trust anybody else." Like we were talking.
And he comes in guts and gets his lightsaber from the middle of the desert that doesn't have no markings. And how did he find that?
Well, he used a foresight.
He did.
He has the Force GPS apparently because
maybe the Eopie could smell really well.
But now there was two, what it looked like, two lightsabers in that box.
Yeah, one was
right,
Anakin's.
because he has Anakin's.
That's what I thought.
Anakin's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing too, Bail comes in, he asks for Ben's help, and Ben says, "No, I'm not that person anymore. You could forget about him." And I mean, yeah, he didn't leave. He ends up using public transportation to get to Dayu. Is that the name? How you pronounce it?
Dayu.
Yeah.
Like Bail could have left him a ship. It would have been a lot easier.
He's trying to keep the secret, though. He doesn't want anyone to know that about that connection or why he's leaving or anything like that. So he's he's not giving him any resources.
That's fine. Then leave me a ship on Dayu so I can get the heck out of that planet instead of just transportation when the time comes. Help me out here, you know.
Well,
but I guess
you're royalty. I have to take public transport. What the heck?
Well, then Kenobi wasn't too ashamed not to flash his lightsaber off either before he got onto the ship. When he went to
that
give
was
his
something
ticket.
that was clearly done for the audience's benefit, but doesn't make sense for the character.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. Okay, so I'm going undercover. I'm taking public transportation where you're not allowed to bring any weapons, but I'll bring my lightsaber with me anyways. And I'm going to wear my Jedi robes as well.
Say clearly you've never taken public transportation in America. It's dangerous, Stan.
Well, and not only that, he puts on his Jedi robe to get there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that's just kind of a big problem with Star Wars in general, is that was originally supposed to be, just desert garb because he was on Tatooine. It wasn't supposed to be a Jedi robe, but we grew used to seeing that Jedi in that outfit, and so that kind of became the Jedi robe instead of the Tatooine desert garb
apparel.
Exactly. So it would have made sense if someone else in that town, is it Mos Espa or Mos Eisley, whichever town that was in? I think it's Mos Espa. Wore the same similar type of robe, but nobody else has those robes on.
Yeah,
with the big hood. It's clearly. So that's how episode 1 ends with.
He's getting on the transport and going off.
Yeah. Now he never really told Bail he was going at all. So as far as Bail knows, he's not helping him.
I would say we just didn't see that bit of the conversation.
Yeah, I think he knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for all we know, Bail paid for the ticket.
Well, Kenobi couldn't afford it. He's
Right?
getting ripped off by his meat boss. Only getting half his earnings. So we start off in episode 2, and we find out that I'm gonna screw this. Dayu. Yeah, they have no Wi-Fi on that planet. It's
no signal in or out, so you're screwed if you're trying to track some kind of a ship.
So kind of like one of the first things he comes across is an old clone trooper, which of course is played by Tamora Morrison, who played all the clones in the prequels at Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and reminds me of something that happened back in episode 0 when I was talking about what do we think we're going to see in this Kenobi series.
Well, let's just say this, Dan. I think you'll see Tamara Morrison in this series.
Either as a clone or as
exactly.
Yeah,
I think I'm more inclined to see him as a clone, maybe Rex in here, maybe.
Oh, that would be a good cameo. I'd love to see that.
To see Rex, yeah. Here we go. Scott called it. We're going to see Tamara Morrison.
Yes, a clone.
That was an easy one, but I don't think that was Rex though.
No, I don't think that's supposed to be Rex. But I mean,
I
believe his whole hesitation to help, or as well, because it's like on one hand he had fought alongside these people before, and at the same time
they betrayed him.
They turned on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, did anybody else, once they saw Tamora, think, okay, Commander Cody's coming to the show?
we could get just about any of the clone troopers. I mean,
Right.
that are still alive in this timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So this was obviously one of the actually a 501st clone trooper, one of the ones that the battalion that Anakin was in control of because of the blue markings.
Right.
Even though it might not, I don't think it was Rex himself, but it was one of the rank and file 501st. Now, these guys have their chips in their heads. Order 66 is still active as far as we know. Does the chip only work if they know for sure this is a Jedi, or is the battery dead like on Magic Bands after 10 years? The chip no longer, the battery doesn't work.
Well, I would say they would have to know that someone is a Jedi before they would. They don't have the Force sensitivity to just know that someone is a Jedi if they don't. They aren't told or have some other reason to know.
Well, something I noticed in the very beginning of the first episode was when they were in the Jedi Temple doing Order 66, you kept hearing Palpatine's voice on the loop. Execute 66 just over and over. And so it made me wonder, does the conditioning only work for so long and then it wears off? Because if you go back and listen, it was just that one sentence on a loop over and over.
So after he stops saying that or stops playing that recording,
it started to wear off.
The order is no longer valid. Could very well be, but in any event, he didn't pull out his blaster and shoot Kenobi, so that was a good thing.
That would have been a short series.
So Kenobi discovers this fake Jedi guy, Haja Istri?
Haji or something like that.
Haja.
What are our thoughts on this guy? Jay, what are your thoughts on this guy?
Dude, it's Kumail, and I love anything he does.
Okay.
He's part of like the circle of comedians I've been following for a long time, so I was just happy to see him.
He seems super familiar to me, but I couldn't quite place where I saw him, and I went back and...
Well, he was in Eternals.
Yeah, so
Eternals.
So he was in Eternals, I guess. There was something else that he was in that I had to have known him from, but for the most part, I recognize him immediately. I didn't know where I recognize him from. Some kid gives him spice for free.
Played by Ewan McGregor's daughter.
Right.
Really? Yeah. That was his daughter?
Yeah.
When she says, I used to be someone's daughter.
Hey, she is a proper dealer. First taste is free.
Yeah, exactly. Then he goes, so he calls out this guy saying, it's all just bad. You're using magnets and remotes.
Magnets and
remotes.
The Breaking Bad lab, I thought was kind of a cool scene where they were making the spice. So he's off to rescue the princess. So I guess without this Haja's help, he would have never known where to go on this planet.
And we have seen him in the past be willing to kind of like deal with the underground people, as it were, to find information and whatnot. So, I mean, this is kind of fitting in with his character.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he even says that, if I want to find a rat, I know. If I want to,
the rats know the sewer the best, or something like that.
Yeah. The rats know the sewer is the best. So I'm going to start with you. So he rescues the princess, Riva, whatever, the Inquisitor, Riva. She doesn't like this, so she puts a bounty on his head. Basically, is what it comes down to.
And that happens even after the Grand Inquisitor basically caught her and said, stand down. I'll take it from here.
Yeah,
did it anyway.
And she does not stand down.
Ask a question of you guys at this point. Riva, because I think she's the very first person we see in the shot because she escaped the temple, because Obi-Wan showed up after everybody was dead. Is her anger, does she blame Obi-Wan for what happened? Is that why she's so after him?
I think she's upset because he didn't come to rescue him. Yeah. I think that's going to play into it.
Yeah, she has some sort of personal grudge with him directly, it seems. So I'm assuming we're going to find out something about that as to what their connection is.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like the Grand Inquisitor, I guess Obi-Wan's meant for Vader, and that's why they don't really want to go after him either with the brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that could very well be. That makes a lot of sense that Obi-Wan or Vader said, hold on. Now, at this point in time, I want to ask you guys.
We also find out that Riva knows that Anakin is Vader, or
That's
Vader
the
is Anakin.
pin I put in earlier, because how did she know that? I thought that was something only the Emperor and Vader knew. Tarkin didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Maybe they're dating. Maybe he's
well, that's what I'm wondering. Is there some sort of more of a connection between her and Vader? That
Yeah. You know, out of all the Jedi that are missing, the one I want the most is Kenobi. My girlfriend. They might be dating. Maybe, yeah.
Well, and doesn't Vader kill everybody that finds out that they know he's Anakin?
Well, except for his girlfriend, Reva. I'm convinced that they're dating. Now, at this point in time, is Vader spending the majority of his time in the back of the tank?
Dating.
What's that?
It got burned off on Mustafar. He has nothing to offer Reva.
There's mods for everything.
That's how you're going to get the mods and back in again with their motorcycles.
Yeah. Is at this point in time, is Vader spending the majority of his time in the Bacta tank? Do we think?
Well, even in Empire Strikes Back, wasn't he spending some time there? So I mean, he's got to be spending lots of time there. Kind of like Boba Fett was in Book of Boba Fett. I mean,
in the comics,
spends a lot of time there.
In the Darth Vader comics, basically when he's not in the uniform, he's in the back of the tank floating because he's in constant agony.
Yeah.
Well, then if him being in the back of tank like Boba Fett, is he going to have flashbacks and dreams and stuff like that too? Being in there, are we going to see some of that?
I wonder.
And I think in the comics, it's shown that he has nightmares rather than flashbacks.
Well, the other thing too is you have to remember these are the prequels. I think all of us have had nightmares about the prequels at one point or another.
They all involve Jar Jar,
They all involve Jar Jar at some point. Yeah, we've all had nightmares with Jar Jar in them.
Oh Lord,
poor Jar Jar.
The conversation that Ben and Leia are having in the streets, I just loved every word in that script. Just done so well. Where she's calling him Grandpa and he's saying, "Well, you can be. Aren't you kind of old to be a Jedi?" And
you look old and beaten up.
Yeah. I'm going to call you Grandpa.
Grandpa
maybe not father.
Hey, Obi-Wan Kenobi, get over here.
No respect.
Don't make fun of my Obi-Wan, please.
She has so much sass in this. And how old are you? He says 10, and he just kind of rolls his eyes.
You don't feel like you're 10.
Well, and then the fact that she kind of turns on him because she's like, wait, why should I be trusting you?
Especially when
how do I know my dad
pucks.
sent you? How do I know?
How do I know you're not the real kidnapper?
Yeah.
She has a good head on her shoulders, that's for sure. This little girl.
And the thing is like from the information she's been given at that point, she's not wrong to suspect.
Right. Yes.
So we have the parkour battle on the rooftops. I don't know how many bounty hunters are after him. Plus Reva's watching, and the little girl's running away. And I don't know how Leia thought she could make that jump. And for a while there, I thought she was going to use the Force and actually make it.
She wanted Obi-Wan to lift her up. The only way it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think she's that gutsy. She's gutsy.
I don't think she was planning on Obi-Wan saving her, but at this point she doesn't believe it. The other question I had is how the heck far away was Reva running across all those rooftops? Because she's running as they're having all this fight. Then they have the bit where Leia falls and there's a whole conversation and it's like cut back to Reva and she's still running across rooftops.
Still running. I mean, she was like 3 miles.
She wasn't just running. We kept going parkour.
And not only that, like when she goes down between those alleys, she sort of jumps between the two buildings like 6-7 times. Whereas back in the day, the Jedi would just jump down that fall and be fine. Like they, she was quite a ways away. Like you saw that shot of her over the shoulder, and you could see where the battle is going on. It was blocks away. It wasn't that close. But you're right. That timeline did seem off. That did seem to take longer than it should have. So eventually, she catches up to him. And she kind of has him, or she's catching up to him, and Haja steps in and sort of saves. He basically saves Ben at that point.
Well, he saves
Lane.
them from the robot first, from the LOM type robot.
Yep.
Was
droid,
that Forlaw? That was my question.
It's not supposed to be. I think the name is actually like One Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then gives Obi-Wan this whole bit. Oh yeah, go up there and and there's a ship to get you off, and it's like, how do I know this isn't a trap? Well, do you have a choice?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But then
So
he does kind of prove himself by trying to get in the way between Reva and them getting away. So
what is his story now? Is he a Force fan? Like a Jedi fan? Like, does he have all the collectible cards from when he was a kid? Or he doesn't seem to have the Force. Scott, what do you think? What is with this guy?
No, I think he's just a fan. You've seen it earlier. I think he was taking advantage of acting like he was a Jedi and taking those family's money and pretending to be it. So I think he's enamored with them.
Yeah, he's a wannabe.
Yep.
And he does say that he is getting the family safe, maybe a little poorer, but he was trying to get them to safety.
Yeah, so his heart's in the right place. He's just in a bad neighborhood to do that, maybe.
Yeah.
Using,
He still needs money to pay the bills.
He does like credits. He does admit that he likes credits. You can use those to buy things.
I can buy lots of nice things with credits.
So we get the big reveal in this episode where Reva tells Ben, I mean, it's not a reveal to us, but it's a reveal to Ben or to Obi-Wan that Anakin is still alive and that Anakin is Vader / Anakin, because he knows at this point that Vader is Anakin, but he thought he left him dead for Mustafar at this point.
Yeah.
He's kind of, it was burning inside him for the last 10 years that he killed Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Anakin's still alive.
Yep.
Justin, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, we see that it clearly sends him into a bit of a spiral mentally. Yeah. He's like not sure how to cope with that information.
Yeah.
Well, and I think he opened himself up because as soon as he realizes that and calls out Anakin's name, and it flashes into Anakin being in the Bacta tank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a connection.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if there is something there, like he can sense something through the Force or whatever when that happens. And I also wonder, there were a couple of bits throughout where, and it was last episode more than this one, but where Ben tries to reach out to Qui-Gon and isn't making any contact. And I wonder if that's because he's shut himself off from the Force so much that he can't do that communion with Ghost Qui-Gon, if that's going to be something that we're going to see by the end of the series.
I would imagine.
I would think so.
Yeah. We have to see Qui-Gon by the end of the series.
Can I say real quick,
the Grand Inquisitor shows up. Oh, sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Can I say real quick how good Ewan's acting was right here? Because when he finds out Anakin's alive and they get on the ship, he's doing that acting where he's not speaking, but you can see him having a conversation with himself in his eyes.
Yeah.
It was such good acting of just saying what Obi-Wan's feeling without saying a word. Just watched his eyes the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Grand Inquisitor shows up, basically tells her to, you go to sit down, little girl. I'm going to get Kenobi myself. And she doesn't quite hesitate. She pulls out that saber and
she lets him have it. That's it.
Yeah.
Makes him a shish kebab.
Yeah.
So is this the same Grand Inquisitor from Rebels?
That's my question. Is there
he looks very similar. I mean, there's definitely some differences between the animated version and the live action version, but I think it's supposed to be the same person.
I think so.
In which case, we know he is still alive after this somehow.
So is there really messed up fate if you read the comics?
Well, is there like they call him Brother 1, Brother 2, Sister 3, Sister 7? Is there other brothers that from the same species maybe, and they kind of take the place of the Grand Inquisitor? Is that what the story's going to be?
See, I don't know. As far as I know, this is the same Grand Inquisitor that we see in Rebels.
Yeah.
The head is different. The neck is short in the live action, but if it's a different person, if another his twin steps in and takes the role, like I said earlier, all the people that complained about him not looking like he did in the animated series, now we know why.
Right.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm leaning towards, that there's going to be a replacement Grand Inquisitor that comes up. So Kenobi hops onto the shuttle with Leia, and Ben and her make their escape, and Rhea is stuck on the planet, basically more or less shaking her fist Darn you, Kenobi! Getting away from me again.
We're gonna find you.
Would have got away with it.
Go ahead.
She would have got away with it if it hadn't been for that meddling kid.
Yeah, exactly. Now, going back years back when the Marvel Comics first came out, I remember hearing an interview with one of the writers in the Marvel Comics series, the original Marvel series, and they were told they could write Star Wars, but they couldn't include Vader. And the reason why they couldn't include Vader because they don't want any of the heroes to die. So it was going to be, if they didn't have any of the Vaders die or any consequences with any of the heroes, it would basically every single episode would end up with Vader shaking his fist in the sky saying, "They got away from me again." It would be little Vader. That's what the writer said. And that's kind of what this felt like to me. It flashed me back immediately back to that. So what are our predictions? We're going to wrap up really quickly. We got 4 minutes left. Scott, what do you think's going to happen?
They're going to be on the planet. I'm hoping that Hajjat doesn't betray him and make it a trap. So I don't know. It's the Inquisitors are going to go after him. That's all I can think at this point.
Jason?
I don't want to guess. I don't want to know. I just want to be surprised on Friday when it airs.
Okay. You don't think that Luke's going to get kidnapped next week?
I don't want to make any predictions. I want to go into it fresh and just be as happy as I was this weekend.
Okay. And Chris?
Well, what Scott said about Hajjat, no, I don't think that he's going to betray him. I mean, she pulled that information out of his head and found them at that port. But no, I don't think he's going to do that. That's just a gut feeling for me. I don't think he's going to do that. No, I just can't wait till Friday.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually going to be Wednesday. But I'll say I think she knows where they're going, so she's going to follow. There's going to be some tension between her and the others over, killing the Grand Inquisitor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be very happy with her for doing that. So I think she's going to be fighting her co-workers.
Yeah, is she now public enemy number one amongst the Inquisitors?
I think so. I think she's going to have them turning against her as well.
Who else thinks she's going to wind up leaving and becoming a good guy?
I doubt that she's going to be a good guy.
I mean, she is.
I suppose
horrible.
anything's possible if she started off as a Jedi. That maybe that, like the Grand Inquisitor said, that Jedi code is an itch that will eventually come out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
She could. That's a good one. I never had thought of Jade.
She just seems to be set up to leave them and be a great Jedi like Ahsoka.
Are we done with the Leia storyline?
Not yet. We're going to get at least 2 more episodes out of that, I think.
I think
with
so.
Leia?
Yep.
Okay. Time will tell. Thank you for joining me, you four.
Thanks.
This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to these each week. Turn into the solo show and follow along with us. Be sure you watch the episode first because we're going to go spoiler every time.
Did you always call it the Sulu show? Because that's Star Trek.
That's called the Sulu show?
You almost call it the Sulu show. I'm like, that's blasphemy here, dude.
The solo show. I'm sure I said solo.
You get excommunicated if you do a Star Trek thing again.
I'm not doing a Star Trek thing.
No.
Anyways, the solo show is where you want to watch or listen to your Kenobi Roundtable discussions. They're going to be here each week for the next 5 weeks. Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.